G'day guys, my name's Brad Flynn and I'm the author of Find Your Cash, the best-selling book for hairdressers. You can see down the bottom right there, and thank you for getting a copy of that if you've just got one. If you are like most people and you're really busy, you may not have time to sit down and read the whole book. So what I've done is put together this quick video for the 6 fastest ways to find more cash in your hairdressing business, okay, without spending a cent. Now, we're going to use an actual case study to step you through how we actually did this. So this is a hairdressing salon from a couple of years ago. They'd been in business for less than 3 years. They'd started out, they'd done okay. They had 3 team. Now we take the basic information from their profit and loss statement here that you can get yourself or you can get from your accountant. So this business had sales or income, $386,000 and cost of sales of just under $58,000. So our gross profit is our sales minus our cost of sales, which gives us this figure here. And then our operating expenses, which is our rent and so forth. If cost of sales is all about our treatments, our shampoos, the different products, the colours and that we're using. Down here is where we put our rent, our power bills and so forth. So our gross profit minus our operating expenses gives us a profit of $39,000. Now, that's not too bad, but it could be doing better. In fact, this case study we're going to step you through now, we're going to add more than $90,000 to the bottom line. So keep watching. Here's the sad fact though, when I started researching this is data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, which is the government body that looks after all the facts and figures for businesses. From 2015 to 2020, there were more than 19,000 hairdressing businesses that had failed. Now this is an excerpt from the book. So that's a failure rate of over 94%. So if you start a hairdressing business today, you've got a 6% chance of making it to your 5th birthday. Now, apart from the burnout that the business owners suffer with working hard long hours, the number one factor that's going to kill your business is cash flow or lack of it. And that's exactly what this video is all about, is to help you find that extra cash so that you can keep your business growing and get that freedom and choice that you went into business for in the first place. So let's get started. Now, as we go through this case study, you're going to see how we're going to actually add more than $90,000 to the bottom line. So keep watching. So let's go through some of these strategies now. Quick cash strategy number 1, margins. Markup and margin are not the same thing. So whether we're dealing with, the services you're providing or if you've got products that you're passing on as well, you want to make sure you understand this one. This is big. So here's an example. If we buy something simplistically for $100 and we mark it up to sell for $150, that means our markup is 50 divided by 100, which is 50%. However, what the margin is, and margin is just a fancy word for what we get to keep, is quite different. Our margin is only 50 out of 150, which is the sale price. So it's only 33%. All right, so that actually means a lot of people who think they're marking it up by a certain amount and they're going to make that amount of money back in terms of the margin. It's not how it works at all. So there's actually 34% less. So how does this apply? There's this rule called the 80-20 rule, and I talk about this in the book. And it states that 20% of a particular action will give 80% of the results. So if we look at different areas in life, 80% of the roads, 20% of the roads, wherever you live, will carry 80% of the traffic. 20% of the clouds produce 80% of the rain. 20% of thieves make off with 80% of the loot, which is a little bit disturbing. But how does that apply to your business? Well, in business, 20% of your margin, 20% of your customers will be giving you 80% of your margin. So who are those customers that are most likely to make you good money? And similar, what products and services do you have that are only 20% that make up the whole thing that are actually going to give you 80% of the results? You've got to know where your sweet spots are. Okay, so make sure you do some research on finding out which ones are your most profitable things to work on. There's a saying says, no margin, no mission, by a lady called Sister Irene Krauss. And I figure she's a nun, so if she's up for making good margin, there's no mission for her, then, and she was a fundraiser. This is where she got the quote from. So you've got to be able to know what the margins are. Quick strategy number 2 is stop discounting. If you're discounting, don't be like Nike, just do it. Just don't do it. Okay, and I've got Danger Will Robinson, so maybe some of you are old enough to remember this one. Let's have a look at it as an example. So if we can go back to where we started, we buy something here for $100 and we sell it for $150, but someone comes in and says, hey, how about a discount? And we say, yeah, sure, we'll give you a 10% discount. Or maybe we have a discount day of the week that we actually do this. Well, the challenge here is when you give a 10% discount, it's coming off your margin. So you actually cut your margin by nearly 30% with just a 10% discount, because the percentage discount is over the whole price, okay, not just your margin price. So you've got to be really careful. Now, conversely, if you put your prices up, that's actually an increase in your margin of 30%. Okay, so make sure you're thinking about your margins and whether you're discounting or not, and possibly putting up your prices, which is probably something you need to do. And I'm going to talk about that really soon. In fact, let's talk about it now. Quick cash strategy to get more cash in your business now is put your prices up because you're worth it. Okay, now there's a great book by a guy called Robert Cialdini. And in this book, he tells the story of a little seaside, kind of a trinket shop. And they had these various little rings that they couldn't sell. And they were quite pretty little rings. And he left a note for the sales assistant that could they please change the price on them. I think they're at $9, mark them down to $4.50 and put them in the specials basket out the front. And what actually happened was that when the person came back in the next day, the business owner, all the rings were gone. They'd all been sold. And the person was quite shocked at this. So how did that happen? Well, what actually happened was the person put $45, not $4.50. So the perception was that because they're expensive, they must be good. So putting up your prices is an absolute must, even if it's only a little bit, if you haven't done it for a while. Because here's the thing, usually the person with the biggest problem with putting your prices up will be you, the business owner. But the benefit of it, apart from making more money, is that it's going to filter out your D-grade clients, the ones who usually complain and moan about what you're doing regardless. So you're going to be able to get rid of them. It's also important to have a good sales process. You've got to have good scripts, you've got to have good contacts with people, you've got to be able to get your value proposition across in the time that you're interacting with the person, whether it's via emails or phone calls or Facebook or any kind of thing, having a structured sales process to help them through. Now, here's the thing on that 80-20 rule I mentioned before, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact when you meet someone. All right, now I'm going to go through that in a bit more detail in a moment. Quick cash strategy number 4, reducing our costs of sales and fixed expenses. Okay, this one's really important. Here's the thing. A really important rule to have with anyone you deal with is what I call the win-win or no deal. If you're not getting good value from a supplier, or you're one of the people you're dealing with, your landlord or whoever, then you need to go back and have a chat to them. And it can be really simple. In fact, if you haven't read Scott Pape's book, The Barefoot Investor, I would highly recommend you do it. He's got some great languaging in the way that he suggests you go out and talk to people and ask for a better price in there. And that's what it comes down to. Just ask for a better price from your suppliers regularly. In fact, this is from one of my clients, Michael. He came back to me a while back and he said, thanks for the invite to join. You do good work and make a positive contribution. I enjoyed reading your book. And he said he's implemented one of the ideas. He asked one of his suppliers for better pricing, which they have given him. And from that, he's saved up to $65K per year at current expenditure just by asking. So make sure you're asking for better pricing regularly. It's so simple, but can make you so much extra cash. And I talk about that in the book in a bit more detail. Quick cash strategy number 5, follow-ups and rebooks. The fortune is in the follow-up. You know, are you keeping in touch with people as you need to? Now, I mentioned about when sales are made previously. So watch this. This is an old postcard that someone sent me years ago, and I've researched it, and the facts are quite astounding. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of them make a second contact. 12% make a third contact. 10% make more than 3 contacts, but 2% of sales are made on the first contact. So the likelihood of you getting a sale on that first contact can be quite small. So you need to be able to find a way to get in touch with someone and keep them in the loop of what you're doing with them. 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% are made on the third, 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. Sometimes people might be making several calls with your business, or maybe you need to build this into your sales process. But as I said, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Having a way to keep in touch with people is really, really important. Strategy number 6, help. Getting yourself some help so that you're not doing the stupid stuff that I've got down there. So why do business owners do stupid stuff in smart time when they need to be working on their business? Well, it comes down to how well we're managing ourselves. So here's what you need to do. If you want to get control of your time in front of these people who are having some trouble with their time, first of all, what I would suggest you do is keep a diary of where your time is actually going. Where is your time being spent at the moment? That alone can sometimes help you start to hone in on and do less of the stupid stuff as we're going along. The second thing I'd suggest you do is list out all of your activities that you're doing and find the things that you can either delegate or dump, give to somebody else to do, which in turn frees you up to focus on what your most important things are in your business. And then what we need to do is hire someone to do that work. Maybe you can give it to one of your existing team members. There's a bunch of different ways you can start to stop doing some of this stupid stuff and start to finally get some better results. So how do we go with our case study? Remember we set it up at the front there. We had a business that was doing something, and I said to you I was going to show you how we added over $90,000 to it. Let's have a look at how we did it. Now we have this system called the Find My Cash Roadmap, and it's an online tool that will go through and ask you a bunch of questions to find out where you're leaving the money on the table, and then it will produce a report. So those strategies that we just looked at, those action steps, here's how they play out when you run the report, and I'll tell you some of the figures that we used in here. So this is our hairdressing case study business with those figures that we started with. Now the first thing, we said we would put our prices up by a little bit. Now, in this instance, we put our prices up by 5%. Now, what that resulted in was an extra $19,300 a year, or a minimum of $1,600 per month. And this is going to cumulatively add them all up. The next thing we talked about was stopping the discounting. So having a better sales price, so a better sales process, so that people don't ask for a discount because we're giving our profit away. Now, in this instance, we said that if we were giving a discount of 10% to on average 1 in 10 people, that's costing us this much money here. So now we've improved that. That's an extra $3,000 per year, an extra $273 per month, or a total per month extra now of $1,883. The next thing we looked at was our supplies. Let's go back to the people we're buying our treatments, our colors, our shampoos, all of our hairsprays, all of those things from, and talk to them. Renegotiate with them. If we can get 5% better pricing, we can get a discount of 5% off them. We're not doing discounts, but they might. That's going to give us an extra almost $3,000 per year totally, or $240 a month, or cumulatively now with those 6 strategies, we found an extra $2,000 bucks a month. Reducing our fixed expenses. Let's go through them and start to look at 5%. Where can we cut 5% off our operating expenses, our fixed expenses? So our phone bills, our internet bills, all those sneaky little charges, they all add up. 5% there is around $14,000 per year, or about $3,000 per month. Our next strategy we talked about was focusing on our higher margin goods or services. We've got to know which ones they are. So if we work out that we can have got 10% of our business at the moment is, our higher products or services, maybe it's the coloring. Colors tend to be a good margin, and we start to sell just 10% more of those, and if there's a 50% margin, that makes us an extra 10 grand a year. And finally, rebook. Sorry, second last one, you must have that solid rebook system. If we can get just 5% of the people rebooking each and every time, that alone is an extra 16 grand per year. and the additional admin assistance so that we can stop doing the silly stuff, so as we can focus on growing our business and getting that lifestyle and choice, so possibly could having more time off. If we were to invest just $15,000 into someone, and as a result we were able to grow our business by an extra 50 grand, they're the figures that we used in here, that's an extra 27,500. All up, excluding taxes and so forth, this adds $94,000 to the bottom line over a 12-month period. So now if this sounds something that you might be interested in, doing the Find Your Cash roadmap session, normally you can jump online and get it and do it yourself for $295, or I can step you through the questions you need to be looking at in your business, and we can plug the figures in and find how much cash you're leaving on the table, like we just did then with the more than $90,000. So we're going to find it where it is in your business. Now, at the end of it, you're going to get the report that you saw there with a list of action points that you can go away and put into play in your business, or if you need some help, we can do that. All you need to do is click below, book your 30-minute session. That's all we're going to need, and let's find where you're leaving the cash on the table. So hopefully this has been great for you. Thank you very much for watching again. Look forward to helping you find more cash in your business. So if this sounds like something that might be of interest to you and your business, and you'd like to see how much cash you are leaving on the table, then you can jump online and do it by yourself. That cost is normally $295. You've got to input all your questions and input all the answers, and it'll run the report for you. But as a bit of a thank you today for signing in to watch the video, you're going to have the opportunity to let me take you through it. It's about a 30-minute session to find the cash in your business. Out of that, we're going to get that report that I showed you, which are the most relevant strategies, and there's still a bunch of strategies we didn't get to in the video. As a bonus, I'm going to take you through the benchmark comparison tool, which is also part of that system I showed you, so you can see how you compare to some of your competitors. You know, are you maybe not charging enough? Maybe there's different things that you're not doing that you could be doing that are easy. That'll also find more cash for you. All you need to do is book your session down below. Click the link, find a time, and as I said, as a thank you, it's only $95 to get this report, 30 minutes, and you'll have it for yourself. In fact, we're so confident with what we do with this report that we will give you your money back if we can't find at least $50,000 worth of extra cash. So if this is interest to you, love to catch up with you and help you find the cash in your business. Find the link down below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching again, and I hope you've got some great ideas from the video.